Greetings, Marioposa Maát here, everyone. My Kaleidascope Klan. Hope you're all doing well. I am going to be sharing a very special historical reality with you today, and that is Sisal de San Bernardino. It's a convent and a very favorite location here. Very upscale for this town, and I will be sharing the history with you. So before you head anywhere in Mexico, let me tell you the necessary things. I'm making sure I get the necessary tools. Number one, mi sombrero. See, porque the sun is so hot here that if you don't take care of yourself properly, you will be messed up. And then number two is getting the proper hydration, hidración. So here I'm going to be choosing from the array of beautiful juices here. You see all the juices? They're all pure. And oh wow, it's cute. I'm in my favorite fruteria, Frutas Finas Audi. And I'm going to look for the pitaya, which is dragon fruit. I don't see it. So, I think today I will get the chia with limonada. Okay? They also have jamaica, they have zanahoria. Jamaica is hibiscus, by the way, or red ginger. They have hibiscus, which they call, Jamaica is hibiscus. They have horchata, chia con limon, naranja, which is orange, piña, pineapple. They have avena and manzano, which is interesting, oatmeal and apple juice, and tamarinda. Hola, amiga, ¿cómo estás? Mi amiga Chela. There she is. And toronja, which is grapefruit. I actually already have that in my refrigerator right now. Now, the thing is that how much do you think one of these litros of pure drink costs? In America, I'd say what? How much would this cost? About $5 maybe? I don't know. It's only $1. 20 pesos, 20 pesos solamente. Entonces I win. So anyway, this is necessary before I go anywhere. It's some type of hydration, if not water. One of the juices is very important because I will melt if I don't. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pay for this, and then I'll be headed to Sisal. So, it took me maybe about 15 minutes to walk from where I live, and I'm finally here at the beautiful Sisal de San Bernardino. It's one of the most known locations because it has the Pueblo Mágico sign, which is in all of the special cities that are given that title. Very beautiful sign. And also, as I had said before, it's one of the more upscale areas. I actually used to live right there on the corner. Me encanta aquí. It's very, very popular for tourists to come here. It's a must-do thing. It's on the list, right, for everyone. So yes, I needed to show you from the very front. It's very regal as far as the way it looks. And we're just gonna walk along this path and go. I'm going to take a tour. I've taken the tour before, and I will say I didn't finish it because it was so disturbing, but I'm ready this time. And this is the thing, is that this is a favorite location. The only reason why there aren't very many people out right now is because in the middle of the day, people don't hang out because it's so hot. So generally you'll find people walking in the morning, and in the evening it's filled with people. Starting from, you know, when it starts to cool down, maybe about 6:30 or so, it's a favorite location for people just to spend time. Children, elders, they play sports on the lawn because it's so big here. And so, yeah, there's also a video showing that they do on the building. So it really feels, I often say that Valladolid feels like Disneyland. This is one of the locations where it feels like Disneyland. It's rich, it's beautiful, and it's set up for tourism. So let's get a little closer, shall we? So you can see what it actually looks like as you get closer. When you go inside of this big door, they have church in there even now today, which to me is a little crazy, and I will go through why I feel that way later. But it's still used as an iglesia. And look at how beautiful the sky is again. Me encanta. But you notice the bars. It's just kind of foreboding to what we're about to experience. And yeah, overall, I can say that having lived in Ghana, West Africa, it's very similar to any other dungeon that was built by a church that was actually used in many harrowing ways. But it's not really focused on in the way that the story is told, which is normal all over the world. Because I mean, if it was, this would be a much different type of location, right? So let's go in. I'm going, see, they're signing up. This is the entrance of the museum. So let me go ahead and sign in, and then I will show you what's on the inside. This is the very entrance when we first come in. Some images, and this is the court yard. The building here. I'm just gonna go ahead and move. There's another room there where they use it today for meetings and things. I've seen the people in there as I've walked by, but notice, okay? Well, I guess we can look at some of the images here. Okay, it tells the history. Now, as we are here in the museum, let me say that I already know the history. Like I said, I've already been here. So these are images of what we just saw outside, but these are weapons, and they're images of things that were found in the cenotes, because when this was taken, when this was built over the sacred cenote of the people, they used this location for a lot of warfare against the people here. There's the cenote, an image from down underground here. That's him. Okay, and so after they recovered the cenote after independence, they found many, many weapons inside of the cenote, as well as artifacts, but many weapons that were thrown, and people, bones, you see, bones. They threw a lot of people, they threw a lot of weapons disrespectfully inside of the sacred cenotes. And so that's what a lot of the images are that we see. Look, there's a cannon that was found inside the cenote. So for me, this was very striking when I came the first time. The reality of how violent it was for the people here. There's a gun, and they're showing how it was brought up out of the cenote. So, very important information as we move forward. It won't be surprising when you see the rest. Okay, so that's what is in this museum of images. So let's continue, shall we? Okay, so we're now in the main hall of Sisal, which opens up into this courtyard here. And you can feel energetically what I feel. But there's a lot of suffering in here. It's not really pointed out the level of torture and how many people died here in the name of conversion to Catholicism. But for me, it's very clear. Look at this. It's open sky. I guess it's too bright for you to really see it, but yeah, it's open sky. And then along the borders here, we have different images. Different images that show Catholicism pretty much being honored. Yeah. It says, un solo Señor, un sola fe, un solo bautismo. So, an only man, an only faith, and only baptism, okay? So these are the images that we see as we walk around, Jesus and things, people praying, and all of these things. So this is where I had to end my tour the last time, but I came ready this time because I had already experienced it. It's like I couldn't even stand upright. I was like bending down and I couldn't stand in here. But actually I have my crystals, which help me to keep negative energy off of me. I have my smoky quartz yoni egg, which helps me to stay grounded and to keep bad energies off. I guess that's the confession thing, right? I've never dealt with Catholicism, but I've seen the movies. Yeah, so this, on the other side, is the church that is still being used today. Feels scary to me. My stomach is starting to feel uncomfortable. And here's an altar. So, I guess that's the Sacred Heart, right? I've heard of that before. Yeah, a heart surrounded by a crown of thorns, the Sacred Heart, right? Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe. And when I first came, okay, let me say again that I'm highly sensitive. So when I first came, I was, against Guadalupe, even though I bought a Guadalupe purse. But then I found out about how it was all part of the Catholic Church and all that. I was thinking it was more traditional. And then so I was going to throw the purse away. I ended up giving it away when I left, but I kept it. I worked with my energies, because the thing about Guadalupe is that I love how they have a woman as their image of God here. She's everywhere. And so I was very happy about that aspect. But then you have the aspect of the fact that people were killed and tortured in order to accept her over Ixchel, which is the traditional Mayan female. Okay, so here we go. This is what I did not do the last time. I was afraid, to be quite honest. But we're gonna go ahead and we're going to ascend the steps and see what's up here. Here we go. Mommy. There's the church, what it looks like on the inside of the church right now today. And of course, I will say that San Bernardino does take lovely pictures against the sky. Yeah, it's very appreciated for that. Here's a little creepy dungeon room that I'd rather not. Okay, enough of that. Because again, I know what they were doing in these rooms. I can feel it. Okay. So, on the second floor, coming from the courtyard area, and here you can see outside there's the Valladolid sign where we were before. Very picturesque and serene, unlike the energies in here. It's like, why does everything have to be blood red? I feel like Carrie. Okay, I'm going up more stairs, so this is kind of like a little third flight thing here. Okay, so I guess where they do the bell and all that. Okay, so I found the light, a little bit of light, to show this room here. That's an old typewriter there. Wow. Guess it's supposed to be from that time, but here is one of those creepy monk outfits, friars, right? And then they have the other outfits there, which, should I touch it? There's one, and then this thing, this cape, or whatever that's called. That's enough of that. I'm gonna purify after I leave. So this is a meeting room. They have here the old antique lighting, and you see here, I'm guessing, you know, Jesus and other figures, religious figures. But look at this table. So yeah, this is one of the larger rooms. So it looks like, look how high these ceilings are. Wow. It looks like this is where they ring the bell. Like this rope is attached to the bell. And this is the second floor of the church. So there, you can see the church. The pews, that's what they use. I see people here on what, Saturdays? Is that the day? The Sabbath day? Yes. So this is a very popular church, you know. For the native people, they come. So to be clear, again, there's Jesus. And again, I don't mean to make this political, but how can you not, right? It's more to show the difference between the tourism and the reality. The reality is that this place was here for 200 years, where they were converting people forcefully to lose their culture and to take the Catholic culture. So a lot of torture and killing was taking place. And that's the point, that there are descendants of these people who were killed, who are still, you know, making it. And they're, you know, people talk about how powerful the Mayan culture is, but very few people actually practice it in the sense of like the culture. I don't really know anybody, to tell you the truth, who's like praying to Ixchel and stuff like that. The only people that I know of are those in the Temazcals. But even the Temazcals are not Mayan. They're not Mayan. They're different cultures, Mexica, other Native American cultures, but they're not Mayan. So we appreciate all the native people that still honor those powerful gods, because they're important and a lot of the culture is being lost. So anyway, let's continue on with our tour to the outside where the cenote is, where they found all the weapons. Going back down to the outdoors. To freedom. So yes, again, my intent is not to be political, because I do want to share this with the lightest heart possible. I actually have changed a lot over the years, because stuff like this used to make me very angry and emotional, but I'm not anymore. I'm not reactive, but rather looking to respond in a positive way. So they're talking about how the cenote here and how they dealt with it is an impressive example of hydraulic engineering. Okay, this cenote, zodnot, is how you say it in the Mayan language. It means abyss or depth. Okay, as all of the caverns, all the cenotes are here. So the cenotes are one of the beautiful resources of the Yucatan, and they only exist in the Yucatan. So this is the yard Very gorgeous, right? So this is the building of the cenote. And at that time, it was seen as being very technologically advanced. So when you go inside up there at the top, you take these steps here on the grass, you go right up there, up that path, and you can see the water, as I will show you from the top. Now, mind you, again, this is one of the most upscale areas because this is where the priests lived. They had the convent, but right next door is La Calzada de los Frailes, which is the street of the Franciscan monk priest people, the friars, right? A lot of us, oh, I didn't know, cenote means cold water. Okay. So we're gonna go up here. We're going uphill into this structure. And this is where you can see the cenote. It has an opening to the cenote. This is where they were, where they were throwing people and things in the water. So this is a structure above the cenote. They built on top of it, whereas before it had not been built on top. So be very careful. You can see the water down there where the light is shining. You see very faintly the reflection of water. So again, all the cenotes are like caves with water, and this is what the structure where I am looks like. And it's set above the yard. Oof, make sure I don't step on anything. It's set above the yard here. Notice the ceilings. I'm an artist, so I love to notice how things are made. See how the beams are? That's very typical in the colonial architecture, and you'll see that in the homes as well, with the homes that are in the colonial style still. So, what do you think? That is Sisal. So it's a big contrast to the luxury and peaceful happiness that we see surrounding Sisal every day. If you don't come in for the tour, you know, a lot of people have no idea. Even when they share it in the movie that they project onto this building at nighttime, it's very much watered down. I mean, they talk about war, but you know, it's like, oh, there's a war, and you know, but it ends up like, oh, and everyone's happy, and they brought advancement, colonialism, you know, all these things, of course. They don't even really talk about the church too much. They just talk about the conquistadors. Yeah, but they don't mention the role of the church with conquista, that they were hand in hand. They went together. So, you know, it's important that we know these things, just like in America, right? There's a lot of history we don't talk about in America. But in order for us to find healing, look, an aguacate. Not here. I don't want any food from this location. I don't want to imbibe anything that comes from here. But yes, it's very important that we're conscious of the history of locations. In fact, I think I'm just going to have to sit here for a moment and do a meditation, do a little prayer for the ancestors that lost their lives here. I got so involved in sharing that I forgot to actually take a moment. And I suggest that you all do that in any location where you are. Take a moment and understand that time and space are illusions on some level, And it's important for us to energetically tap in and to harmonize. So I just want to give thanks to the ancestors that gave up their lives. That energy is really appreciated, that they stood up for honoring their culture. And physically they lost, but spiritually they are empowered, and I'm going to continue in that empowerment. Ashe. And there's also over here a little place to pray. To focus on the suffering of the cross, which I don't do. But again, I just want to bring my energy here and give honor. If I had my druthers, I would have brought some kind of incense. But I've learned to not shake the boat in these kinds of situations. I've been told, even at the pyramids before, that I'm not allowed to burn copal. So that was a crazy experience, but I had like people following me, making sure that I didn't burn anything or, do anything too spiritual, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Because if you know anything about the culture, that is how you honor the ancestors, is you burn copal. But it's against the law in a lot of the places that are controlled by the government. So I will say less about that. But anyway, I'm happy to have shared this with you. I think that it's very important. And I will also show you some images of some of the happy things that take place on the outside. So that was it. I'm still just outside the museum here. This is still part of San Bernardino, the Convento. And yeah, I'm happy to have shared with you all. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. It's very important that people all over the world have a compassion for one another and understand our history. So that's why I chose to share this. I will be sharing more uplifting things, but I think it's really important to be anchored in the reality of where you are and to have an appreciation, because by knowing what's happened in the past, you can have an appreciation for the freedom and the knowledge and the experience that we all have today. So thank you, and please comment. I would love to hear how this affected you. What do you think? I would like to say that, and I've said this already, but I want to say again, that no offense to people who are religious, where you're inspired by the cross and by suffering and all of those things. I myself, being my own personality and my own experience, I need to focus on things. I use the law of attraction. I focus on happiness and joy in order to keep myself going. If I focus on suffering, I will be depressed. So that's not something that I can do for very long. So no offense to people who enjoy that. Whatever floats your boat, whatever empowers you. Some people don't suffer enough, and so it helps them to kind of balance themselves out by looking at someone who has suffered. I've suffered enough, so I don't need to focus on suffering. I'm looking at abundance and happiness and receiving all that the divine has for me. That's my focus. So thank you. Take care. Marioposa Maát, signing out.
Una de las zonas de evangelización y propagación religiosa más importante de la península. Sede de la nueva fe que vio nacer el convento franciscano y que atravesó por varios sucesos bélicos y políticos. El franciscano Diego López de Cogolludo describe que el convento de San Bernardino de Siena se encuentra fuera de la ciudad, en el pueblo de los indios, fuera de la villa, como a 6 cuadras a la parte occidental, viniendo a ella por una calzada de 8 varas de ancho, hecha de cal y canto, con su pretil, y por ambos lados tiene una alameda de árboles que le llaman ceibas o yaché, que son muy grandes y coposos, y que le hacen sombría, y que es muy frecuentado por los vecinos por ser devotos de su sagrada religión. Situada, se esconden innumerables secretos que a susurros de nuestros ancestros llegan a nuestros oídos, convirtiéndose en mitos o leyendas. Una de ellas cuenta que en el año de 1560 el canónigo don Pedro Sánchez de Aguilar se encontraba muy molesto por las travesuras de un duende, cuyo nombre y descripción no pasaron a la historia. Se trataba de un demonio que hablaba con quien se encontraba a eso de las 8 o 10 de la noche. Su voz era como la de un papagayo,